Thank you, Hindi team. Now we are moving to our English session. Today is our 2140th day of continuous webinar. Thank you all the participants for making it as a success. Thank you everyone. Before beginning the session, we'll have a silent prayer. Good evening and welcome once again. Today is our 2140th day of continuous webinar. Today's our speaker is Dr. Hema Mistry. She's MD in Homeopathy, PGICR. She's a consultant physician in skin and cosmetology with Homeopathy. And under this, she worked as a clinical assistant in ICR and worked with Nash Homeo and Dr. Badras and ex-lecture in Erala Homeopathic Medical College. Doctor has joined now. Dr. Hema, you're welcome. Please. Please, you can start now. Yeah, you are the co-host now. You can unmute yourself and
Okay. Okay. So can you just put on the slides?
yes, sure. Now it is started, right?
Yeah, my voice is audible?
Yes, audible.
It's clear, right? Yeah.
Madam, some disturbance is coming. I think some TV or from your TV or something.
Okay, I'll just try to put on my earphones.
Okay.
So we are today going to talk about the principles and practice in homeopathy. These are the essentials as prescribed by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, who's the founder of homeopathy. And he laid down these principles the moment he tried an experiment because he was a linguist and he was working part-time as a librarian. And while translating the books in library, he came across a paragraph saying that the concoction of a cinchona bark, when taken by a healthy individual, will produce the symptoms of malaria. And when the same concoction, the juice of cinchona bark, is given to a patient or a person suffering from malaria, will cure it. So he said, let me try this on myself. And he started taking a cinchona bark concoction, and that produced the symptoms which were similar to malaria, that is the chills, the sweating, and the fever. And a typical malarial fever started coming up. And he tried this not only on his associates, his assistant, and his apprentice, colleagues, and everything. And then he came to a conclusion. He tried other concoctions like that, which were mentioned. Then he came to this principle of similia similibus curantur. That was the first principle and the foundation of entire homeopathy. It's the first principle that anything which can produce the symptoms of a disease, any particular drug, or the root juice, or the bark juice, or the leaf juice, or the flower juice. And then he tried with the metals, elements, and the other toxic poisons also, being the minimal, so that it does not have the toxicity, but the minimal minute dose which can become healing, that he diluted with the water and the things which were not soluble in water, he started putting it in alcohol. And such soluble things, then he started, this is called mother tincture, that is in a very raw form that, and in the toxic substances or the substances which he felt that, we should be minimized so that it does not produce any toxic effects. He tried to potentize that. That is how the law of potentization came. So he started.
You have to say to me to move the slides, okay? To inform me also. You can see the slides, right?
Yeah. So we spoke about that anything that produces the effects of symptoms, signs and symptoms of a particular disease, when given to a healthy individual can produce that disease symptoms. And when given to the person who is diseased with the similar symptoms, can cure that symptoms. That is how he came with the first principle and the law that is called like cures like, or law of simplex, or law of similars, how it is called. So as mentioned, the primary principle states that a substance which causes symptoms in a healthy person can cure similar symptoms in a sick person. And then he tried with the allium cepa, the onion juice. So everybody knows that, an onion, when you touch or the juice with your eyes, can get you watering eyes and running nose, and you start sneezing. So he made this remedy that it can help in the symptoms like hay fever and the similar symptoms, and also in allergies. So a single remedy is prescribed at a time, and this ensures that the physician can accurately observe the remedy's effect on the patient's vitals. So, what is this vital force? Again, said that this is a dynamic force. This is a force which cannot be perceived by eyes, but only it's a dynamic force which can keep an entire body, soul, mind, body in equilibrium. When the patient feels that does not feel any signs and symptoms, the patient is not suffering from any deviation, or he's normal, he's at his best of potentials. That is when we say that the person is healthy. Whenever this force is deviated from its normal equilibrium, or when it is disturbed from the harmony, and that is how the vital force get deranged and the disease symptoms starts coming up. So this is the another principle and understanding which Hahnemann put forward, which was the spirit-like governor. That is, Hahnemann defined health as the harmonious operation of vital force that animates the physical body. The disease is a dynamic derangement of this force. The remedy acts dynamically, not chemically. So any homeopathic medications, when they are potentized, what is the law of potentization? Here again, we try to understand what is potentization in homeopathy. So whenever a drug particle or a juice or a concoction or in a raw form, the when it is mixed with 9 parts of water and diluted and potentized. What do we mean by potentization? It is a circular motion. It's a kind of succussions, okay, which we give so that the drug particle almost becomes very negligible, and it is only the energy gets produced in the form of power. That is the potentization of a homeopathic drug dynamization. Secondly, the things which are not soluble in water, we try to triturate it within the powder form. We try to use saclac, that is, the sugar of milk as a medium, and he potentized his drug particles into that in the trituration of 3x, 1x. That is one part of trituration. It's a movement in the with the pastel in the how we used to do the masala when you try to mix it earlier. That same pastel movement in a bowl, when you try to move it in a circular motion, that is the first trituration when you give the tons in circular motion, and then 2x and then 3x, and then take one portion of this and try to dilute this in alcohol, 9 parts of alcohol. Such way he could dissolve this insoluble homeopathic drugs, and he could potentize now in alcohol medium. And then he found the medicinal potency, which is further into the thousandth potency. So he tried to put one part into other 999 parts, how this medicinal potency started coming. So the drug dynamization or the theory of potentization came up. That is again decibel, that is 1:1:10, which is called as 1x, 2x, 3x. Then one part of the particle to the 100th part of the water or the alcohol when mixed with becomes the 1C, 2C, 6C, 30C. by giving the suppressions, okay, to the liquid. And then the 50 millisiemel is 1 is to 50,000. That is why it is called 50 millisiemel potency or LM or Q potency. This is very minimized portion or almost negligible or no drug particle. It will be only it will be only existing in the nano molecular or nano atom size. And these are very powerful in pathological conditions or the conditions which are, in advanced cases or in the old age where we want to avoid the aggravations. That is where we prescribe 15 millisiemen, the chronic diseases. So he came to the what is chronic diseases. He said the people first initially produce any whenever they are born or whenever the first line of body immune system is working, it is very superficial. And it is, the skin is the outermost organ where the body tries to express its derangement or the deviation. Whenever the vital force get deranged, it will try to express in the superficial layers, that is respiratory or mucous membranes or the skin membranes. And when the emotions, when you are trying to express emotions like sudden excitement or sudden anger or any acute sudden grief. So all these are in a primary stage, a preliminary. But when you start suppressing this ailments to a deeper level, from outside to the inner, more vital organs, and these expressions are somewhere suppressed even mentally. That your mind is feeling something, you're feeling your thoughts or something which is coming up, which you don't register, and then you don't try to express it. And when you try to suppress this, then this goes into a more deeper dyscrasia, which is called as psychosis. And then what is psychosis is a very stagnant, very slow, very dormant stage where the body is undergoing a lot of suppression and a lot of deviation and derangement, but it is not able to express. And it is that where if the disease is in a very dormant stage, like, and this is like all benign tumors or the warts or any excrescences, or you start getting any your immunity is not able to express itself. This is what exactly the psychosis is. Then he started feeling there are some constitutions which decline very fast, which are very destructive. Means their immune system is not been able to protect them or not able to find a reaction to fight that disease. Then in such patients which are very debilitated or they are prone to easy decline, and their deviation is so fast and not able to recover so fast, and their entire body is in a state of complete collapse. This is where syphilis as a mechanism he discovered that this kind of constitutional people or patients will decline very fast, and they are very destructive kind of diseases like ulcers, like any degenerative diseases, any structural pathological changes coming up very fast, where the disease becomes irreversible. You cannot do anything about it. Only palliative treatment you can give to relieve the signs and symptoms, such as the syphilis miasm. So he came down with this theory of this chronic miasms, where he started noting down signs and symptoms of and trying to uh, divide this and present it in a form that the sora, psychosis, and syphilis, like in Ayurveda, we have pitta, kapha, and vata. So these are the constitution types, which are the cause of all diseases. Similarly, he tried to express that in homeopathy, we have this theory of chronic miasms called as sura, psychosis, and syphilis, which are the root cause of all the diseases. And you need to identify and you need to clear this from the very deeper zones, deeper miasms, which then fine. For the constitutional treatment to work or any acute medicines to work, you need to give the intercurrent medications of this miasms that are blocking, that are the hindrance, or that is the obstacle to treatment. This is the theory of chronic miasms he is trying to express. So going back to the first slide, yeah, we can just go through that as covered properly. and not missed out on anything. One more thing that he tried to express that not every individual will try to express any disease, any particular disease in a similar way. So suppose if I have a hay fever or if you have a hay fever, not everybody is going to have the running nose or the running eyes or start sneezing. Somebody may start suddenly going into bronchitis. Very so this is where the theory of chronic diseases start coming up. That the individual symptoms are very different. Okay? The pace of the disease, how the disease is expressing itself, and then the signs and symptoms of disease is one thing, and there is something which is called the signs and symptoms that belong to that particular person as a whole. That is not a sign and symptom of a disease organ or any particular system in that person, but it is a very individualized and subjective symptoms which a person feels like an aura before getting any sickness or any prodromal signs and symptoms or any associated symptoms, a particular time or variation of day, season, any particular hour during the day, any particular food that is causing them the activation. Not everybody will have this. Only that particular individual will have this peculiar, clear, rare, and very characteristic signs and symptoms that belongs to that particular person only. So that is linked to the theory of individualization. That's why in homeopathy, we give importance not to the signs and symptoms of disease, but to the symptoms of individual because that are the pointers or that are the key symptoms of that particular individual as a person. And we give the homeopathy gives the most importance to this. So homeopathy gives importance to mind, the mental symptoms first, that are the cause root of all the expressions in the body. So Kant has given mentals as most important indicators. Then comes the generals of the person, that whether the person is perspiring, whether he's not at all sweating, somewhere he's not able to, or he has a particular smell in his perspiration, which is very typical of that individual, or he will have particular cravings or aversions, likes, dislikes, or some habits which are very peculiar to that individual. That is where the individualization as a principle we laid down. That in homeopathy we should give importance to this individualistic symptoms that are very rare, peculiar, clear, and belonging to that patient as a whole, as a person, to that individual, and not to the disease signs and symptoms. That is how we evaluate the homeopathic remedies also. When it is coming to the simillimum, then we differentiate what is very peculiar, clear, and rare about that person, which will differentiate and try to bring about one single simillimum that a particular patient or person is whole. So this is the theory of individualization or a principle which he came and expressed. So these are the particular principles in homeopathy which every individual should be cannot neglect or cannot overlook and has to follow the principles and practice as laid down by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. So if you can help me go from the first slide down back again.
What, madam, you need the first slide, huh?
Yeah, from the first slide, if I can, so that I know
Okay.
that I'm not talking.
This one, right?
Yeah.
This
Can
one?
okay. Can we go from the first slide down?
First
Down,
slide?
down, down. From the first slide to the second and third, like rise.
Second one? Third one, huh?
Okay. So this
This
is
is
about
the
this is about the founder of homeopathy, the Christian Frederick Samuel Hahnemann, who was born in 1755 in Germany, and who grew with the this were the times when the modern medicine was very brutal, very cruel. There were the practices which were like bloodletting, a lot of leeches, and the kind of treatments were not was more of a suffering that particular person and the treatments were going on. So he wanted to, when he came down with homeopathy, he realized that there are more better ways of treatment, and to find the gentle, the most smooth, most reliable, more comprehensive treatment. And that is where when he came across this proving of cinchona bark and the other drugs that he proved subsequently. And he did not stop. He proved almost 300 to 400 drugs initially. And he noted down everything very systematically in organized way. Uh, uh, he tried to prove it on the individuals, on the human beings. Another most important aspect of homeopathy is that homeopathy is not proved on any rats or any mammals. It is proved on human beings. So you can, it's the most reliable. When it is proved on human beings, you have people who are expressing at the level of mind, at the level of body, at the level of feelings and thoughts, and signs and symptoms. So you can completely rely. It is the most comprehensive study, and the drug provings were systematically organized in a book called Homeopathic Materia Medica and the Drug Provings. And then he proved the same symptoms clinically while he would treat the patients. And some signs and symptoms while treating the disease were automatically cured, and these are called clinical provings. So that also was recorded that while treating one particular disease, if some symptom which was there of the person is cured during the treatment, that is how he started proving also the clinical signs and symptoms. And he recorded all this in our Materia Medica, and that was completely put in an alphabetical manner or systematically in index was formed, and depending upon signs and symptoms of that individual, which are the remedies that would have these signs and symptoms were kept in a directory or entire uh, so it is called a repertoire. The systematic way he produced an index, and where you could easily refer from an alphabetical order or from the organ in its descending order, or he would or there would be very specialized, like fever or uh, some keynote symptoms just based on particular fear symptoms. So he tried to organize in a very indexed repertories. So clinical repertories came up, the repertory of mind came up, the repertory of entire general repertory started coming up. So this is the way that everything was recorded in a very systematic way. Where so and the art of case taking. So when we talk of case taking, it is when as a homeopath, when we see a patient and we are taking the preliminary information, like the last lecture which I took of the entire case taking, where case taking is not only taking up the data, superficially covering the signs and symptoms of the patient, but systematically evaluating that patient as a whole. So from the information, the first data itself, that what religion, culture, which geographical area, what genetics, what is the family history, the preliminary data, what the past history of illnesses he has undergone, or with that, the chief complaint, the onset, the location, the origin of the disease, how it started in the timeline, in the successive events, right since childhood, his history of all what he has undergone from the childhood, the past history, evaluating that to the current history, to the present illness, and the associated signs and symptoms. Also, his journals, his sleep, his perspiration, his cravings, his aversions, his modalities. That is, whether he's thermally, whether he's able to bear the heat, whether he's very uh, sensitive to cold or sensitive to extremes, and whether he requires any kind of a covering, or whether he prefers the moderate climate, or he has a particular liking or affinity for something and something which is not suiting him well, or he has some disgust of food. So all these things are taken in a way, in a way that you are building up a rapport or building up a bonding with the patient. And as you are evaluating the patient, right, from his chief complaint to his associated complaints, and from his family history to past history, his personal history with respect to his family area, to respect to his work, and the surroundings and the signs, circumstances he has undergone, right, since the beginning of childhood till now. And you can find a particular thread or particular pattern that you see that this particular person is behaving in a particular peculiar way, and you can come to the root cause when you are evaluating this. That's why it is called the art and not only the science of case taking. It is not just a mere collection of signs and symptoms, but it is far better that you are observing the objective symptoms also. You're seeing how the patient is behaving, how the patient is talking to you. Some things are unsaid, some things are read in between the lines. The trust he can have on you, the bonding he can have you, how you have established your role as a physician for him will make him feel comfortable and make him and open up to the level of completely uh, opening up his own deep insights or deep sensations or deep feelings or his thoughts, or this will bring up entire person as an individual outside, and that is what is very important in homeopathic case taking. That is called the art and science of case taking. So here in a very elaborate way, Dr. Honeyman has spoken about case taking. Uh, yeah, can we go a little below? So we said in homeopathy we treat the patient who has the disease, not the disease itself. Every case is very unique. We also take up with the physical generals like appetite, thirst, sleep, thermal reactions of that particular individual, how he's reacting to cold, hot, or any particular climate, weather, or internally how he's reacting to anything which is cold and hot, his mental emotions, fears, dreams, temperament, any anxiety, any incidences that has laid a mark on his mind, impact on his mind, deep inside has rooted within him, any particular organs that are affected. So sights. So if some people may have more over the left hand side or more over the right hand side. So this is the affinities of that particular individual, that that location becomes very important. Not everybody will have a headache, which is come in a similar way. Somebody may express it from more heaviness on the eyes, on the eyeballs and eyebrows. Somebody may start it from the occiput and the sides, which side they are having the origin of the headache. So that way you are able to differentiate the headache, and this will indicate the particular medicines in homeopathy or drugs in homeopathy that have affinities. So this is how location, the sensation, whether it is throbbing, whether it is clicking, whether it is burning, or whether you are finding electric wave, electric shock like, or some electric sensations that comes up like the current, or what are those modalities, whether they suffer in the whenever there is a monsoon season, or whether they suffer from an exposure to sun or to some seashore, whether there are these particular day timings, whether new moon or full moon has some effect or impact on that particular symptoms to come up or worsen or feel better with, like kind of a position that happens better in. All this becomes very important in homeopathy to evaluate and differentiate from various drugs and modalities of that drugs. So how would you evaluate the symptoms? So let's go to the totality from the art of case taking. In the symptom totalities, the first and foremost, the mentals and emotions become the most important aspect of that individual. Physical generals become very important next, and the characteristic particulars that we talked about, which is belonging to that individual, which are rare, peculiar, very clear, and only speaks about individual and not the common symptoms of the disease. So this is how homeopathic evaluation of symptom totality or totality of symptoms is evaluated to find the similar remedy. So can we go to the next slide? So initial is the comprehensive holistic interview or case taking, as I have said, that it is a very intricate art, how we interview the person, how we establish our bonding, what is the report, and how the patient is able to open up and completely rely, comes out with his most innermost feelings that he's able to discuss it with us and with complete faith. And then comes how we record the symptoms and come down to a similar individualistic symptoms of mind, generals, the body, and the particular symptoms. Describing his modalities and the side affinities. And then we come to the evaluation of the remedies and try to differentiate from the individualistic point of view. And the red line symptoms, that is, one symptom that which is not included in other drugs and which is very peculiar and stands out from all others, differentiates that remedy. So the observation is also very important, that when we are taking the follow-up of the patient, when we prescribe with one single drug and remedy, and uh, how he is getting treated, that his signs and symptoms which he started off initiated with onset of disease will go in the reverse order of how it has come. So suppose if he had some skin symptoms and now he is suffering from asthma, and you are trying to treat asthma or rheumatoid arthritis, maybe his skin symptoms will come up again. So that will surface up. So you need not feel that there is something new coming up, because you have collected the entire history and you know that in past he has suffered from some eczema or some kind of a dermatitis or some kind of a skin infection, and that has been suppressed, and that is after which he has started getting this asthma or this joint complaints. And as you are treating this more in a dysprasia, you will reverse the orders of the symptoms and you will again start getting the older symptoms. And whenever you're treating any disease, you'll see that the disease will go from the upper most important organs to the lower part of your bodies, and from the innermost to the outside of your body. So from the innermost vital organs, the disease will try to start expressing on a superficial and less vital organs. That is how the treatment or the healing occurs in homeopathy. That's called Herring law of cure. So you should be very observant that when you see that if you are treating asthma and if the patient starts getting the joint complaints and he starts getting relief in asthma, but he's suffering going more deeper, or his kidneys started affecting. And somewhere we are not treating him, that we are just giving him a suppressive treatment. So we need to be very careful in evaluating our, and by observing that we are treating in the right direction, that is the Herring's direction of yeah. Next. Next slide.
Next is questions, right, madam? There is no other
Yeah. Okay.
after the clinic.
Can we go back and can we go back and check that if I've not missed out on anything?
From the beginning?
Yeah, because I was just going from one flow to other. Yeah, so from practices.
This is part. Yeah.
The next slide.
Second.
Yeah, so exploring the origins and philosophical core, how the homeopathy came into discovery and who founded it. So it was that not that it was not present. It has already discovered earlier, but it only came in a way of Dr. Samuel Hahnemann, where he tried to experiment this on himself, and that is how he is known as founder of homeopathy. And all these principles he has published in his book called Organon of Medicine, where he has put with the comments below. And all the aphorisms that, like verses we have in any Upanishads or Vedas, we have verses, and then we have got the explanation of the same, commentary on the same by our experts. Similarly, Hanuman has also laid down his aphorisms, and then he has given a commentary below, trying to explain what he's trying to talk about that aphorisms. So it's a very pocket book, and which every homeopath should. It's called the Bible of homeopathy. So every homeopathic doctor should have this and keep on referring and keep on revising and going back to it, the basics of homeopathy, because these are the fundamentals, principles of homeopathy, which we cannot overlook, or we may get debated from the correct science. So the next is Similia Similibus Curenta, where we spoke how the homeopathy treats basis of similia or like cures like law of similars. Next is we spoke about the vital force, that is the force which we believe is responsible for uh, for for making the person keeping the person in a healthy condition and deviating the person when the equilibrium or harmony is disturbed or this dynamic force is disturbed because of certain triggers. Can be any sudden grief or sudden loss and any mental shock, and then this vital force will start getting deranged, where your body will start expressing some kind of discomfort, and the person will go or get deviated from that healthy condition to a disease state, or where we call it sick. The patient will start feeling sick. So unless and until it is physiological or pathological proved, the modern medicine does not believe that the patient is diseased. But in homeopathy, we also give importance to this kind of symptoms, which are subjective and not being proved physiologically or pathologically, but are only expressed by the patient as a whole, and through a correct observation, fine observation, and relying on data, we try to prescribe the homeopathic medications, and the patient can be, the person can immediately establish a harmony, equilibrium, and he can be again replaced into healthy position. So healthy state or health position of a person is the optimal position of an individual where he can be at his best of capacity or best of his potentials, where he can work it in a very ease, in a very comfort way. That's the healthy position. Then the next is potentization, when we spoke how the homeopathic drugs are prepared, and the law of minimum, like, does not have the standard dosages as you have in modern medicine. I mean, any chemical or any synthetic or any kind of direct uh, uh, drug into your body that is producing side effects or aggravation or harmful effects. So to avoid that, he came with this law of minimum, and the dilutions, that is 1:10, then 1:9. That is the medicinal potency. So this is also very important, that suppression and saturation are the methodologies by which the drug is minimized. The lowest macro nano atoms and molecules, and it is only present form of energy. And it's similar to our vital and dynamic force, and that's why when they are at the same dynamic levels, it tries to bring back the vital force, which is deranged or deviated. So law of minimum force and how the efficacy of homeopathy works, just enough to push your body's own healing mechanism or body's own dynamic force to recover on its own. That much stimulants is only required, and that much dose and frequency is only enough to bring back that person in a position in a reversible disease. The next This case, we spoke about miasms, that we have these constitutional types. So Sona is the first mother of all the diseases, and from where when it is not treated at that level, and when it starts getting into a deeper zones and is suppressed, gets into the dormant or called psychosis. So it is a very slow, progressive kind of a disease or dyscrasia, and the patient starts feeling very sick and unhealthy, but there are no signs, direct signs and symptoms. Only once we are able to treat with the minimum, then we start getting the expression of an outbreak. And there is something which is very typical of syphilis or tubercular miasm, the fourth miasm, which we started realizing in the later part, when we started seeing the combinations of these miasms. Or tuberculosis was an erratic state where the patient would sometimes shift from one to other, and sometimes he's in a very dormant stage, and sometimes when he started becoming very vibrant in an erratic way. So that is what tubercular miasm also he discovered. He started presenting it his later theory of chronic miasms. That is a combination or shift or erratic. And the constitutional types were very heavily, very cachectic, and they would be very unpredictable. So that's where tubercular miasm started coming up. He has laid down entire understanding of Sora psychosis and syphilis in his theory of chronic miasm and the principles and practices which we need to study, refer to, and need to prescribe the intercurrent miasmatic to clear that block so that we are able to heal the patient completely with the constitutional remedy. Next. Yeah, so in homeopathy, the case taking is the most crucial and the most important foundation on which the entire treatment planning, programming, the way we take up the follow-ups, unless until you have established a complete proper case taking data and evaluated the same, will not be able to come to any proper organized way of having the follow-ups. So only on the basis of proper case taking that we are able to evaluate the remedies, we are able to give understand why a particular person is behaving in a particular way and he was improving, and then suddenly he started not showing any further improvement. Then where is he getting stuck up? Whether we need to give anti-miasmatic, intercurrent medicine, what stage we should give, where we should regulate the dose, the frequency, the intensity of the episodes of disease have started reducing, and likewise will be only on the basis when we have established a proper cleansing. Individualization again, that is very important, that we believe that every individual signs and symptoms are more important compared to the disease sign. So evaluating that symptoms in totality becomes very important in the order of importance, and to repertorize the same, to bring it to the similar, and to treat the patient in the right direction of having slow of cure. So these are all the principles that Hahnemann has laid down in a very descriptive, in a very deep understanding, and we should always go back to our foundation, go back to these principles, try to understand them, reflect them in every case wherever we feel stuck up, or we should be able to evaluate when we say we are reviewing the case again. That means somewhere we have missed out on some some principle or something where we have not followed a particular uh, proper methodology which Dr. Hahnemann has completely laid down in a most orderly fashion, most organized way, system. Yeah. Any questions?
Participants, if you have any question, please raise the hand and ask your question.
Also, I would like to invite any contributions if anybody would like to contribute or express as interest.
Madam, shall I stop the screen sharing?
Yeah.
Dr. Ram Parvesha, sir. Dr. Ram Parvesha, sir, please unmute yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Anjani. And congratulations, Dr. Hema Mistry. Very nice, excellent session. According to organon, philosophy of homeopathy. Organon is the essential subject. Without organon, no treatment. Organon एक एप्रोस्टिक स्टाइल, डिस्क्राइब द ऑर्गेनम एप्रोस्टिक स्टाइल, एक 1 by 1 approaching is the treatment of homeopathy and cause of homeopathy, you know. So main cause of homeopathy according to law of organon, classification of disease. Classification of this first indisposition, maintenance cause of disease, or second dynamic disease, and chronic disease, miasmatic disease, sora, psychotic, and psychotic. You can describe the symptom, sora, psychotic, background of miasmatic. Without miasmatic, not chronic. Indisposition without lifestyle and maintenance cause of disease. It is the lifestyle according to symptom. So without sora, not chronic disease. Sora is the essential. All men suffering from soric in nature. Sora thinking is called name of sora. Soch hi sora. Negative, positive, and then psychotic, extra growth organs, and syphilitic, destructive. So treatment, individualization, treatment, mental, main cause of disease, mind, thought, mind, not chronic disease. Sora background is sora and tuberculosis, diathesis. 50% cause of disease. Only one word here. डर डर गया सो मर गया तो बाकी इमोशनल डिजीज, ग्रीफ, एंगर, इंसल्टी, बैकग्राउंड ऑफ मियादमी. So very thanks, Dr. Mistry. Very good describe the organon of medicine and philosophy of homeopathy. So thank you. Very thanks.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ram Parvesha, sir. Thank you, Dr. Hema. Actually, every time whenever someone is taking the classes, we are remembering again and again about the case taking, individualization and all. Otherwise, sometimes we also forget to follow all the steps. It's wonderful to remind and making us aware about all these things. Really, it's a needed class for every one of us. Thank you so much. Dr. Danesh, you're welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Ajini, and congratulations, Dr. Hema Mistry, for coming over here and delivering such a wonderful speech in this evening. And as we know, the fundamentals of homeopathy need to be studied and need to be read every time. That's the reason why people very good practitioners used to say that you should read at least one part of organon, at least one aphorism a day. Then you will become a better prescriber, and you will you can remold yourself into another big doctor. So, as we used to say that homeopathy is the art, has a scientific part as well as an artistic part. Applying these things together is something great. Then people used to say, "What is the science of homeopathy?" That is, some people say it is a pseudoscience, but homeopathy is the purest science among sciences because it stands on a whole-like structure, as we know the knowledge of disease, knowledge of physiology, anatomy, that is then knowledge of pathology, knowledge of theories of homeopathy, that is the fundamentals of homeopathy, and knowledge of cure. These four structures stand together, the science of homeopathy. And the application of the science for the purpose of care can be called as art, the artistic part of homeopathy. And this is the basic difference. Then you know that I can apply the medicine to a particular patient in such a way. And you can also give a medicine to a patient in a different way. But what the purpose of the precision is that is highest ideal of cure that can be achieved through the scientificity. And for getting such a scientificity, what you need is a thorough case taking. But people used to say the case taking means that you just simply sit there and ask questions to the patient. What is the problem? What are you suffering? What are your blood report suggest? But homeopathy is not that. Homeopathy, it is just the beginning of case taking. You just simply sit down and hear what the patient has to say, and how the patient react to each and every situation. What the patient show in front of you. These are the things to be noted, and these are the things to be studied, and these are the things. That is the reason why, when that doctor prescribed, when I just entered into the clinic after seeing me, this particular medicine was prescribed, and I don't know, it works wonderfully. I don't know what he never talk about my disease. He never inquired for the the blood reports or X-ray report. But still, after taking that medicine, I don't know where the disease went off. That kind of that is the that is what we call the expertise, the experience, and the expertise of the doctor in such a way in prescribing. That for that, what you require is the fundamentals of homeopathy, as with the knowledge of materia medica. That is also a part of uh, 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 this knowledge of knowledge of the prescription, or knowledge of whatever may be called. And if your prescription is right one, it will work. Then some people used to give some 30 potency, one potency, 10 potency. But there is also science behind that. How will you prescribe a medicine to a child who is crying vigorously? You can definitely, if you know if it is a belladonna or a chamomile child, you can give high potency, really just like one potency. It will work quickly rather than a 3x or 6x, 6 or 3, because the intensity of the medicine shall be directly proportional to the intensity of the disease or diseased condition. No, we never treat the disease, but the disease the person, as we used to say. So this is what we have to look into. This is what we are studying day by day. This is we are getting day by day. We can see that when a child comes to your clinic and sitting very close to the mother, and whenever you ask questions to her, she is simply we may think that she is about to cry, but she is not crying. That is the typical expression of a pulsatile child in your clinic. And after some time, she may start laughing at the mother. And when you ask some question to her, she may ask the mother, "Mother, you may tell the disease to the doctor. You may tell it like that." So she never directly talked in the first part, but sometimes later she may talk. So these are the things. That is the knowledge of materia medica, and the symptom, how to differentiate that mental symptom of a patient from the physical symptom. That's what's required. So I am congratulating Dr. Hema Mistry for coming over here and giving such a beautiful session on that. And what's your opinion on my talk, Dr. Hema Mistry?
Yeah, you said very important components which we need to reflect. That is the knowledge for a physician. The knowledge is as mentioned in the Organon of Medicine by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann. You should have the knowledge of all the knowledges which he has mentioned, 10 knowledges which he has mentioned in the Organon of Medicine. You need to also, whenever you are trying to see any medicine, what is it that you are looking for? Your planning and programming should be also very important. So you mentioned about the dosages. So when we are selecting a remedy, the selection of the right potency is also very important. So if the mental symptoms are very prominent, or if we are finding the most individualistic signs and symptoms, and we have the generals in place, then maybe we can go for a higher potency, and that will immediately bring the healing in the right direction of any block. Yeah? But when the cases are more deeper, and the tendency of a patient is not very expressive and more of a suppressive origin, then you need to be very careful. And where the symptoms are very blunted, or you're not able to get easy expressions of mind, and very superficial expressions of body and organs are there, where the pathology has already started occurring, then it will start with the lower but more frequent basis. And the theory of repetition of dose, how frequently, what potency, this all things become very important basics as laid down by Dr. Samuel Hahnemann in Organon of Medicine, also becomes a very crucial aspect of the treatment planning and program.
Exactly. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
The knowledge, according to homeopathic master, knowledge of disease, yani requisite as a homeopathic physician, requisite qualification of disease. First of all, organon of medicine, knowledge of organon of medicine, and other जो है material मिटका, then pathology, dosage, medicine. It is the angle of treatment according to law of homeopathic science. Symptomological angle is the best treatment, and chronic disease, medical angle is the essential, and pathological angle. It is very fast angle.
Thank you,
Not
sir.
easy angle. Thank you.
Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much.
Gargar Homeopathy.
Thank you, Dr. Hema Mistry, for your wonderful session. And thank you all the participants for joining with us. And bye-bye and good night to everyone. We are moving to the Malayalam session. I am inviting Dr. Mariamma Jam for moderating Malayalam session. Doctor, you're welcome. And bye-bye to all the participants of English and Dr. Hema once again. Thank you.
There is an announcement for tomorrow. Tomorrow we will have a session from Dr. Paul Joseph. He's a professor working in Canada, and the topic is My Steps on Hahnemann's Fall. So that also will be a philosophical one. Madam, if possible, kindly join the session. Thank you.
നന്ദി അജിനി ഡോക്ടറെ, നന്ദി ധനേഷ് ഡോക്ടറെ. എല്ലാവർക്കും നമസ്കാരം. IFPHന്റെ 2114 പ്രതിദിന സൂം വെബിനാറിലേക്ക് എല്ലാവരെയും സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്തുകൊള്ളുന്നു. ഇന്ന് നമ്മുടെ ക്ലാസ് ആരംഭിക്കുന്നതിന് മുമ്പ് ഒരു നിമിഷം ഈശ്വര പ്രാർത്ഥന. നന്ദി. ഇന്ന് നമുക്ക് അതിഥിയായി എത്തുന്നത് ഡോക്ടർ TN ശ്രീധരക്കുറുപ്പ് സാറാണ്. MD ഹോമിയോ, MSc സൈക്കോളജി, MSc യോഗ, റിട്ടയർഡ് അസിസ്റ്റന്റ് ഡയറക്ടർ, സെൻട്രൽ കൗൺസിൽ ഫോർ റിസർച്ച് ഹോമിയോപ്പതി, കോട്ടയം. 49 വർഷത്തെ ചികിത്സാനുഭവങ്ങൾ. ജനനേന്ദ്രിയ രോഗങ്ങളും ഹോമിയോപ്പതിയും 3ാം ഭാഗമാണ് ഇന്ന് ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കുന്നത്. ഈ ക്ലാസ് എടുക്കുന്നതിന് ഡോക്ടർ TN ശ്രീധരക്കുറുപ്പ് സാറിനെ ആദരപൂർവ്വവും സ്നേഹപൂർവ്വവും ഈ പ്ലാറ്റ്ഫോമിലേക്ക് സ്വാഗതം ചെയ്തുകൊള്ളുന്നു. സാറിന് ആരംഭിക്കാം.
താങ്ക് യു വെരി മച്ച്. വളരെ നന്ദി എന്നെ പരിചയപ്പെടുത്തേണ്ട കാര്യമില്ല. ഞാൻ ഇതിൻ്റെ ഒരാൾ തന്നെയാണ് വർഷങ്ങളായിട്ട് ഇതിൻ്റെ തുടക്കം മുതൽ. എങ്കിലും ഇതിന് എന്നെ പ്രേരിപ്പിച്ച IFPHന്റെ ഭാരവാഹികൾക്കും അതുപോലെ ഇത് കേട്ടുകൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്ന എല്ലാവർക്കും എൻ്റെ വിനീതമായ കൂപ്പുകൈ. എല്ലാവരും ഈ യൂട്യൂബിൽ കാണുന്നതുകൊണ്ടായിരിക്കും പൊതുവെ ആൾക്കാർ പ്രസൻസ് കുറവാണ്. സാരമില്ല, ഇപ്പം എല്ലാവരും ഞാനും ചെയ്യാറുള്ളതാണ്. യൂട്യൂബിൽ ഇത് ഈസി ആയിട്ട് കിട്ടുന്നതുകൊണ്ട് എല്ലാവരും സമയമുള്ളപ്പോൾ കുറച്ച് കാണാം, പിന്നെയും ബാക്കി പിന്നെയും കാണാം. അതുകൊണ്ടൊക്കെ ആയിരിക്കും. എന്തായാലും ആട്ടെ, ഇന്നത്തെ നമ്മുടെ വിഷയം ജനനേന്ദ്രിയ രോഗങ്ങളും ഹോമിയോപ്പതിയാണ്. ഓരോ 2 പാർട്ട് കഴിഞ്ഞു. ഇന്ന് ആദ്യമായിട്ട് 1-2 ഈ അടുത്ത കാലത്ത് കിട്ടിയ 1-2 കേസുകളോടുകൂടി നമുക്ക് തുടങ്ങാം. അതായത് എനിക്ക് ഈയിടെ ഒരു പേഷ്യൻ്റ് വന്നു. 68 വയസ്സുള്ള ഫീമെയിൽ എന്നെ വിളിച്ചിട്ട് പറഞ്ഞു അവരുടെ ഫാമിലി മുഴുവൻ എൻ്റെ സ്ഥിരം കഴിഞ്ഞ 5-8 വർഷമായിട്ട് എൻ്റെ ട്രീറ്റ്മെൻറ്റിലാണ്. പല രോഗങ്ങൾക്കും അവർ വന്ന് നല്ല കേൾക്കാമല്ലോ ഇല്ലേ? ഞാനത് ചോദിച്ചില്ല. കാണാമല്ലോ, കേൾക്കാമല്ലോ.
കാണാം, കേൾക്കാം.
ഇടയ്ക്ക് കൺട്രോൾ ചെയ്തോ.
നല്ല മിടുക്കനാ സാറേ, മിടുക്കനായിട്ടിരിക്കുക.
അതാ ഇന്ന് നല്ലൊരു സ്മാർട്ടായിട്ടാ സാർ ഇരിക്കുന്നത്.
കാണുമ്പോഴേ ഇതേ പണ്ടൊക്കെ ഈ ഞങ്ങൾക്കൊക്കെ കൃഷിയുണ്ടായിരുന്നു. എന്നാലും ഈ പാവലിന്റെയും പടവലത്തിന്റെയൊക്കെ നടുക്ക് ഒരു കോലം, കച്ചി കൊണ്ടൊരു കോലം ഉണ്ടാക്കി ഒരു ചട്ടിയും തലക്കാതെ നല്ല 2 ഉടുപ്പും ഒരു പാൻറ്റും ഒക്കെ അടിച്ച് പഴയത് എന്ന് പറഞ്ഞോട്ട് കാണുമ്പോൾ ഒരു കുഴപ്പമില്ല. കുഴപ്പങ്ങളുണ്ട്, സാരമില്ല. എങ്കിലും ഒരു തമാശ രൂപേണ പറഞ്ഞതേ ഉള്ളൂ. എന്നാലും പറഞ്ഞു വന്നത് ഒരു 68 വയസ്സുള്ള ഫീമെയിലാണ്. അതായത് വർഷങ്ങളായിട്ട് അവർ നമ്മുടെ മെഡിസിനാണ്. പല സോക്കോൾഡ് ഇൻഡ്യൂറബിൾ സിറോസിസ് ഓഫ് ലിവർ, പിന്നെ ഹെർപ്പിസ് അങ്ങനെയുള്ള പല രോഗങ്ങളും എങ്ങും പോയിട്ട് പറയാതെ വന്നത് 10, 30, 35 വർഷമായിട്ടുള്ള എൻ്റെ മെഡിസിൻ കൊണ്ട് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ, നമ്മുടെ ഹോമിയോപ്പതി മരുന്ന് കൊണ്ട് പറഞ്ഞപ്പോൾ അവർ വേറൊന്നും നമ്മളെ പറ്റിയില്ലെങ്കിലേ വേറെ എവിടെയും പോകും. കാരണം അതുകൊണ്ട് പറ്റാതിരിക്കുന്നില്ല. എന്നാലും അവർ ഈയിടെ വിളിച്ചിട്ട് എന്നോട് പറഞ്ഞു, എൻ്റെ സാറേ ഞാൻ മടുത്തു. ഞാൻ ചോദിച്ചു എന്നതാ സാറേ? പറയാൻ വിഷമമുണ്ട്. എൻ്റെ ഭർത്താവിന് 72 വയസ്സായി. ഞങ്ങൾ 2 പേരും ബാങ്ക് ജോലിക്കാരാണ്. റിട്ടയർഡായി കഴിഞ്ഞ് അതായത് വീണ്ടും ജോലി ചെയ്യുന്നുണ്ട്. വളരെ ഹാർഡ് വർക്കിംഗ് ആണ്. പക്ഷേ അയാൾ സ്ഥിരം വെള്ളം അടിക്കും. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞിട്ട് സെക്സ് സ്റ്റിമുലേഷനുള്ള ഗുളിക കഴിച്ചിട്ട് രാത്രിയിൽ ഒരു തരത്തിൽ ഉറങ്ങാൻ പറ്റിയത്. ഒരു 12 hours ഒക്കെയാണ് അയാളുടെ മിനിമം. വെള്ളം അടിക്കുക, ഗുളിക കഴിക്കുക, സെക്സിനോടുള്ള താല്പര്യം. എനിക്കിങ്ങനെ അങ്ങ് ചാകണമെന്നാണ് പറയുന്നത്. ജീവിതത്തിലുള്ള എന്താണ് അവരങ്ങ് കരഞ്ഞോണ്ടാണ് പറയുന്നത്. എന്തായാലും ഞാൻ കേസ് ശരിക്കെടുത്തു. അതിൻ്റെ അകത്ത് ഞാൻ എടുത്ത പ്രധാനപ്പെട്ട സിംറ്റം എന്താണെന്ന് വെച്ച് കഴിഞ്ഞാൽ സെക്സ്വൽ ഡിസയർ മോർ ആഫ്റ്റർ ഡ്രിങ്കിങ്. അത് വെച്ച് നക്സോമിക്ക സെലക്ട് ചെയ്യും. അത് കഴിഞ്ഞ് അതിൽ ചിലപ്പോൾ പറയും, നീ ഇതിനൊന്നും സമ്മതിച്ചില്ലെങ്കിൽ ഞാൻ ഒന്നീ ചത്തുകളയും, അല്ലെങ്കിൽ നിന്നെ കൊന്നേച്ച് ഞാൻ വേറെ പെണ്ണ് കിട്ടുമെന്ന്. എന്തായാലും നക്സോമിക്ക 0/3 കൊടുത്തു. അതിൻ്റെ കൂട്ടത്തിൽ മെഡോറിനം